Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. I had to take a good 15 minutes just to sit there and try to decide on how I was going to do this review because after watching it, I'm just like, well, what really happened in this episode? And to be honest, nothing. Nothing really happened in this episode. So if you're waiting till 8 o'clock, if you have Paramount, or on demand or whatever, you want to sit there and wait to watch it, I'm just going to be honest, there's really no point. Nothing moved forward at all. Nothing major happened. Okay, so you have you have Ridge, you have Taylor. And what did they do? They caught up. They talked about Thomas, how he was doing. They talked about Douglas not living with Thomas and how Hayes felt like, or Taylor felt like that wasn't right. Ridge talked about his marriage a little bit and how it was strained because of Deacon and, him being all super controlling and, the usual blah, 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 blah stuff with him. That was pretty much about it. To say, what is his name again? Ridge was giving Taylor all sorts of compliments. Oh, you're out, you're saving the world, you was helping people, this, that, and the third, and you're such a good person, and you're amazing, and yada, 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 yada. And I just kind of stood there like, so, I guess you're not upset with her that she missed your daughter's wedding, the birth of her grandchild, her drug addiction, like, any of that? You're not... Here's the thing, I would feel... I don't know if the word better would be for it, like if I would feel better, but at least it would be a little more realistic, Somewhat realistic, especially in a soap opera with drama, You have one parent that just goes off globetrotting, helping all these other people. Meanwhile, they're missing some of the best and worst parts of their child's life because they're off helping people and doing all this other stuff. I would have been like, all right, cool, let's have some resentment about that. Let's kind of explore that a little bit. But nope, she was perfect, she did everything right, and yeah, okay. Brooke and Katie. They didn't really talk about much. They talked about Hope, Ridge, how it strained their relationship. Katie compared Deacon and Hope, to their relationship with their dad and how they gave him a chance and they have an amazing relationship and Katie's like you should definitely want to support your daughter for doing the same thing and no one should sit there and stop them for building a relationship, not anyone, and Brooke is still feeling bad because Rich is being a controlling dick and is straining the marriage. And the thing is yes, he's being controlling, but he's also being pretty stupid though. I mean, on what planet did you actually think kicking out her daughter was going to just go over so well? And hell, you didn't even sit there and talk about it. I think, maybe Brooke wouldn't have been gung-ho about it, but she would have respected that you came, towards her. You came, to her and talked about, hey, listen, I think it's time for Hope to leave. I'm having too much of an issue with Deacon. This isn't good for anyone. Let's sit there and have a talk with her about maybe find another place. Hell, it's not like she can't afford it. It's not like, oh, we're just going to sit there and kick her out on the street. It's like, no, but this is what Deacon's doing. And that's the part that's just so stupid. Because you would think a man of that age wouldn't make rash decisions of someone who's in, maybe their early 20s. And don't get me wrong, I get it. Some people mature faster than others. There are people that are in their 20s that are more mature than some people in their 40s, but still. And more or less, that's pretty much what Katie and Brooke talked about. Deacon and Hope found something in common. Karate, self-defense. Hope was in there. I guess she was doing some sort of thing online. Deacon came in, and Deacon was like, I can give you, a couple of pointers or whatever, that you may not learn from this online class. And that was pretty much about it. They just bonded. Oh, and they talked about, because he got to sit there and see his grandchildren for a little bit, and talks about how they're going to spend more time in the future, which I'm pretty sure Liam is so not going to be happy about, even though he's actually a hypocrite. So part of me doesn't care. Part of me does, because regardless, it is his children too, or at least one of them is. So, yeah. What's that girl? What's that other YouTuber's name? I think Chelsea something with a D. Because she also does Bold and the Beautiful reviews. And sometimes I will sit there and just, look at some of her videos. I'm like, why with the Bold and the Beautiful, I guess I can understand it now. Because in the beginning, I was like, I don't understand why it's so short. Like, it's like 5-6 minutes. And I practically just went through half of the roster. I mean, particularly now because, nothing really happened. So I can understand a little bit of why some of her reviews are as short as they are. And if I mispronounce her name, if you're watching this, I apologize. But, yeah. And the last part is Steffi and Thomas. They didn't really talk about much. My goodness. I can understand why sometimes people will sit there and watch, particularly this show, and then phase out for about like a week or so. Go online, go on Facebook, because, they usually have like group chats or whatever, and they talk about what's been going on, just to keep people up. They go in there, they get caught up a little bit, and then they start watching it again. I don't really understand how they get the numbers that they get, if this is the pace that they're going at. And yeah, Thomas and Steffi didn't really do anything. They talked about, they talked about Taylor, like she was the best thing on the planet. Talked about Ridge, talked about Brooke, talked about the reason why, here's the thing, talked about the reason why Taylor wasn't really around was because of Brooke, but I'm like, your children are there. And again, I know I'm sounding like I'm just repeating myself at this point, but like saying the reason why she stayed away as long as she did is like, all right, that's cool, but where was she? What was she when you needed her? When was she there? When was she there to birth for your child or your accident or anything like that? I guess we just gloss over that all the other stuff though, right? But yeah, they talked about that, and then towards the end, they come in, they see Ridge and Taylor hugging, and so naturally they're gonna be happy, and probably try to push towards this whole, parent trap thing apparently, or something like that. I don't know. I just feel like after a while, like if you're a kid and you want your parents back together, that's one thing. But as an adult, it's like, all right, you may have the idea of them being back together, but Ridge made his choice, and like it or not, you kind of got to deal with it. But I feel like they just never fully accepted that, and they just kind of just went along, go along to get along, or something like that, and still harboring resentment towards Brooke, particularly with Steffi. But I guess there's two sides to this, two sides to it, because they are being protective. Brooke isn't exactly, to be fair, I'm not really too sure how Brooke is with her relationship with Ridge. So I can't really sit there and speak on that. But they're protective of their dad, and I guess they just kind of look at it as like Taylor's the better option. That's because she's a mom, but, they were always happy or whatever. But, I mean, to be honest, it's like, well, if they were so happy, then why is Ridge with with Brooke and not with Taylor. You know? Like, I feel like they talk about them like, oh, you know, mom misses you and we should be a family again, stuff like that. It's like, y'all don't talk about the reason why y'all are not a family. How come we don't talk about that when we're sitting there in this little fancy land? I guess that's why it's called fancy land. But I would like to know the reason of why Taylor and Ridge aren't together anymore. You know? Whose fault was it? What happened? Whatever it is, there's a reason for it. And, yeah. I feel like that's about it for the most part. If I missed anything, please write it down in the comment section below. I feel like I have something else to sit there and talk about, but it's not review related, so I don't want to just sit there and yander on and on and on. So, yeah, I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.